So let's talk about basic math operations. So if I have a function called get nice number, and then it receives a number, right? So then if I call that function, and now I'm sending something like that, 5 dot very long number, right? We want to format that because this is not user friendly. So what happens if we want to just give the integer part of the number? So if we just want to return 5 because we want to round the number, how can we do it? Exactly. Exactly. So let's do return math.round number. So if we do that, exactly, we got 5, right? So what happened if instead of rounding, we want just to return the lowest integer that, how to explain that, represents that. So in other words, if we got let's simplify, 5.3, I want to return 5. If I got 5.9, I want to return 5. If I got 6.9, I want to return 6. No, I don't want to round it.
Okay, so you want to get
Exactly. Mat.floor. So with floor, which will give me, yeah, exactly. Give me the closest integer that is below that value. So the closest integer to 5.9 is 5. Exactly, right? But the thing is, if we want to do it on the other way around, if we want to give the closest number above the given one, ceil. Exactly. Here you go. If we do ceil, right, it's the same, but on the other way around, right? Cool. So yeah, so that's good stuff. But then this could start getting more complicated. What happens if we want to keep that as a float number? So we don't want to return 5 or 6 because, I mean, we want to provide a better feedback and more user-friendly feedback. But 5 or 6 is not very accurate, right? I think that we're talking about currency exchange, all these things. So what happens if we want to keep, for instance, 2 decimal places?
You can put parentheses in the number that you want to do.
You can the parentheses.
So you can put.
Yeah. So with the number and then what?
No, it's fine how you. So I'll what you want plus 5.945.
Yeah, I want to get 5945.
So I'll just still have math.ceil, and then when you get into
math.ceil,
and then you want to do parentheses 2.
like that?
And like that, so it's 2 of the number.
Like that?
I think it's like
Right.
you're inside it.
So what math.ceil returns? A number. So then, if this is a number, we're considering now it's a function because we're invoking whatever this returns. So we're doing, this will return 5, and then this is the way we call functions, right? So this won't work. This will return something weird, an error. Exactly. Math.ceil is not a function, right?
So 2 thoughts?
2
thoughts?
Or you can put it inside the brackets in the number.
inside the brackets, like that.
I don't know.
All right, so this is just random guessing, right? Not a number. It's true, it's not a number, but that's not what we want, right? So we can do something like that. We can take the number, and then we can call toFixed, and then we can tell the number of decimal places we want to keep. In that particular case, you see? And what happens if I do that? What will this return?
It will just 1.945. Yeah.
Yes, you are right. However, probably you miss a subtle detail. So what type of data number dot to fix returns? Float. You are wrong. No. toFixed doesn't return a float. And let's prove that. Pay attention again because you've missed it on the first time. Exactly. It's a string. It's a subtle detail. Modern JavaScript allows you to cast and adding strings to numbers, but that's something very dirty. Don't do that. So
If you have to enclose everything in a number,
how you do that?
number,
Number like that?
capital number,
Thank you.
and capital N,
Capital number.
we transform
Yep. Yep.
the string in a number.
Does it make sense? Oops, not that.
The other way around.
Yep. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
You're right. Exactly. That's the correct way to proceed when you want to combine the fixed and obviously you want to operate with that, right? So that's number. Parse int. Parse int, right? So will this work?
What's parsing?
What's parsing? If you remember, parsing transforms the value into an integer, parse int. I believe that what Justin wanted to do is parse float, which is exactly doing the same. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago, I asked you to think about something. It was kind of challenge, right? This is a question that I have been doing for more than 10 years on the interviews, and no one has ever been able to give me the correct answer. So I'm going to give you the answer to the question to you again, right? So this is kind of unrelated to what I want to talk, but yeah, it's a good time to remember. So if we can return number of 3.14, right? If we do that,
You get the number.
yeah, it works, right? But then if I change number with parse int, parse float, in that case, right? Still works. It's the same thing, right? But then the question is, what are the differences between number and either parse int or parse float, right? So if we talk about decimals, parse float. What are the differences? Which is something that you may know, but still, even if you know the differences, when is it a good opportunity to use parse int and or parse float compared to number?
Can you please put in parse float here just the strings or ABC instead of
Yeah, ABC, right? So what?
It will return not a number.
It will return not a number, correct?
But can you put both?
One ABC or 1, 2, 3 ABC.
Ah, right, like that. That's a good
And
hint.
then can you ABC and then 4, 5, 6? No. 1, 2, 3 ABC 4, 5, 6.
Right. So what is that returning?
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. I think Norbert is right. Exactly. Right.
Because it stops at the first character.
Yeah.
It's not a number.
Yeah. Yeah. So you definitely found the differences between number and parse float, which is great. That's really good because lots of people struggle to understand that, right? So if I type number again, this will return not a number, right? So that's the difference. But then the second question is, so which one do you prefer to use? Number or parse float? Depends on what? The data, right?
If I have depending on the case, if you have a number in a string and you want to get out the number,
Yep.
you use parsing.
Right. So now the question is, you should think about one scenario, an example in your real life where it's fundamental to use parse float or parse int instead of number. I'm going to leave it here. I'll repeat that question every couple of weeks, right? And at the end of the week, I'll give the solution.
If I want to get the number of have a house number and the name of the
street
house, and I
address.
want to get only the house number.
That could be a good example, right? The one I was thinking about is even more obvious. But yeah, we'll come back to this topic, right? I don't want to focus too much.
In real life, which is more popular?
So the thing is, unfortunately, in real life, parse int or parse float are way popular. And that's
I think birthday would be a good example. Birthday. Birthday, because we have dots and July and whatever. So you get.
yeah, okay. Still, the thing is, people abuses. They use a lot the parse int and parse float, and that's wrong. That's wrong. because parseInt and parsefloat are extremely expensive. From a computing point of view, they are super heavy. Right? Now you cannot feel the difference because this is something trivial. But if you have a decent set of data, it slows down your application. So don't use parseInt and parsefloat unless you have a really good reason. Use number. Why parseInt and parsefloat are that expensive? Because they have to analyze one by one the string, right, to see where the number is. However, number is really straightforward because if it's not a number, it's just not a number, right? It doesn't try to figure out where the number is within that string. Any question? So last thing for the day, I would like to talk about how to shuffle data because you will probably need that tomorrow, right? So do you know how to get a random number? Math round. Okay, let's try that. So we do math.round. Yes, round. Random. No, sorry, math.random. Math.random, like that. Okay. So what is this going to return? Exactly. You get a number between 0 and 1, right? So you see, if I run that multiple times, it's a completely random.
But if we give it an argument, we say number, what will you get now?
Here,
Yeah.
inside, so you're going to pass 10 as an argument. Nothing. Still the same, right?
There is a way to make it.
Yeah, so then the question I have for you is, how can we get a random number between 1 and 10?
Multiply by 10.
Okay, right, so Konstantin said math.round. So what will this return?
You got to give the parameters. What,
Maybe even zero, probably.
0? 0 all the time?
No.
No, all the time.
0 or 1?
1.
0 or 1. No, zero.
Just 0.
All the time 0.
Why all the time 0?
Because it never reaches 1.
And what? But what round is doing?
Because it's rounding
Rounding
into
it-
the float to the
Rounding it
nearest.
down into
No,
integer.
no. Wait. So Sultan is absolutely wrong. So what you are proposing is that floor. Floor will always return 0, right? However, round will find the closest integer.
Yeah.
Oh, so it
It
can be
rounds to
one.
the closest
0.7.
and
Yeah.
1/5, whatever.
Exactly.
Ah, okay, so it
Yeah,
can be up
exactly.
to 1.
Not up or down.
Okay.
No, it's not always 0, of course not. And let's prove that. You see the first time 1, right? And next, yeah, so that's it, right? But I don't want 0 or 1.
Multiply by 10. And then,
Multiply by 10. All right, like that?
no, before.
That's a good point. You are right, Konstantin. If you do that here, what will we get? 0 and 10. Exactly. We got 10, we got 0, right? But as Konstantin suggested, we need to do that before we round the value. Plus 1. Plus 1. That's interesting. Do you want to do plus 1 or not? I want, yes, correct. I want from 1 to 10. Plus 1 where? Here or outside? Say it again.
You plus it to the math.random and then you multiply that.
Right, so first of all, so what's the range that this line will return? 0 to 9, 1 to 10, 0 to 10,
0 to 10.
0 to 10. So if we do that,
No, it's like where the zero, like you just multiply 10. Just put the it can be less than less than 1.
it could be less than 1, yes.
Math.random times 10 and then plus 1 and then you can use math.floor to get 1 10. If you plus 1 then you get
Plus 1 where?
11.
Right, so wait, I don't want to change anything. I want you to tell me what will this return. what's the range? 0 to 10, 0 to 9, 1 to 10,
0 to 9.
0 to 9,
9, 10.
0 to 10.
It will return because in the math.random,
Yep,
math.random creates a random number between 0 and 1.
correct.
Turn
And I
seven,
multiply two numbers there. It's a number that I get and multiply by 10.
Yep.
I will get a number there.
Yep.
If I round it again,
We get 0 to.
I will get bigger numbers. Around,
Bigger than what?
sorry, bigger.
Bigger than what?
It's close to 10
Close to 10.
because the first part is between here is between
Yep.
0 and 1.
Correct.
If I multiply 0.5, let's say the first one, the random number is 0.5, and I
Mhm.
multiply 0.5 with 10,
Yep.
I get 5.
Correct.
So I round it up again, it's 5.
Correct. So yeah, 5 is a valid option. But is 10 a valid option?
Yes,
Why?
because it can be 9.9 and well,
Exactly, exactly. So Albert is right. So that will return anything between 0 and 10. Let's talk about the boundaries, right? Because we know that 4 and 6 will be there, but will 0 be there? So math.random could be very low, right? So it could be 0, technically speaking. So if that's 0, 0 multiplied per 10, still 0. And
Between 0 and 100.
100. So math.round returns anything between 0 and 1. So what's...
So
yeah.
see, I got 7.
You got 7, yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay, you just ran.
Yes, if you roll it
Yeah.
again, you can keep trying. You see, you got 0, we got 9. Can we get 10?
I just keep on getting 7. Wait.
Does it never go 1?
Does it never go 1? Why? 10.
Because
Oh,
you
that's
multiply
random. That's rounding.
10, you can't get 1.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
You cannot get 1.
With just math.random. Just math.
You can get 1.
Why not?
I think you can.
Of course you can.
Yeah, you can get anything. What's odd is that you can even get
You can get
like
0 to
the
10.
same
Yes,
number
yes.
over and over again. Like I ended up getting 7 like 3 times in a row.
Oh yeah, but that's just coincidence, right?
Yeah.
Give you 0
kind of
to
interesting,
5,
actually.
something, and
Then you
you're
get
rounding
1
that.
finally.
So 1, and then you times it by
I
10.
was just talking about the math on random. So when you don't put math on random,
Yeah,
Right.
then
that's what
probably
I was
fine.
asking.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it ever goes to 1.
Right.
Then it doesn't, because you're not rounding.
Yeah, no, that's what I was.
Look at the last exercise of the day. I want you to return a random character. Keep thinking how to do it.
Character or a name?
It's value from an array.
Yep, I want exactly. I want to get random name, right? So actually, I'm going to pass that. I don't need to declare that. So let's make it inline to save few lines. So this is the array of names, right? So how can we get a random name each time we run this script?
Split the name.
Random
Random dot name
name parentheses
parentheses
0.
0.
You want to get
Square bracket.
Square bracket,
square bracket.
like that. So what will this return?
That's only going to
Random's not
give you
Random's nothing.
It's just-
Yeah, so this will fail because random, well, in that particular case, it's still allowing that. What for? I mean, sometimes I promise something. I'm going to stop using this. Doesn't make any sense. Probably I played another example with an array called random 3 days ago, and that's still there somewhere, right? Which doesn't make sense. What's that?
Combo tree.
That's super funny. I don't know what's going on. Look at
Then
that.
maybe you have to start a different snippet, probably.
They don't want to start a different snippet. They just want to make this work. Look, that's super funny. I'm going to do a talk about that. I don't know how I did it. Well, it's recorded. Okay. Yeah, let's. Super funny, right? I think it broke the internet. Cool. Right. So again, let's start. Let's try to ignore this funny thing. So, right, again, how do we get a random value of the array?
Get names first,
Names,
And then array, the index.
and then
index. What's the index?
Of math.
Math.
Index dot
Or
random.
math. I use math.
No, that's a good question. That's actually the most important thing. We want to use math.round or math.floor. I don't know. You'll tell me. But then what?
Floor is
Floor. Why floor?
Because
Zero.
we want just the integer.
Integer. But round will return an integer as well.
you could read. It basically
Because of probability.
This starts from 0.
Yeah.
But why did you call math dot random? I don't understand.
I don't know. I'm just doing let's ignore round or floor. Let's complete the exercise and then we'll think. But at the moment it's hard to visualize, right? Because it's still halfway. So math.round. And then what else?
This is floor.
Inside math.random. But inside what that means? Inside like that? Right? Random. Right. I think we proved that this is not how it works, right? We cannot pass any argument here. I mean, let's just try. Right? It returns something still very funny. Still returning, weird things. That's not what we wanted, right? It looks like it's ignoring me, right? You see that? Right, I'm going to close that sheet and I'm going to open a new one because otherwise it's going to be very challenging. Look at that, it's still ignoring me. Save it, everything is saved. Look,
Speech split.
yeah, but the thing is, yeah, I'm going to open Chrome again.
Yeah, it must be yours because mine's after I changed it. Just gives us
Yeah, that's super weird. We got a similar problem the other day with let and bar. Right, so let's just start again. Right. So okay, yeah. Now it's responding back, right? Exactly. Okay, cool. Nice one, Google. Thank you for nothing. So then let's revert that. So we got return. You said math dot no names and what else? Bracket round. No, never mind. Let's leave it round. We'll discuss then if it's floor or round. But then what else?
Inside smart dot index and round. People just guessing Friday things.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So let's think about that. I'm going to think about that.
I was
So
thinking, couldn't you?
can I just propose something?
Yep.
Let's not try to write code. Let's just figure out what needs to be done and then
Okay.
write the code.
I'll do that. So what are the possible values that I need to set here? So there are three options, right? 0, 1, and 2. Right? Let's destructure the problem. So I don't mind about the return. I'm going to return it. I'm going to remove it. The first thing I need to do is I need to figure out how to create an algorithm that returns 0, 1, or 2. I don't mind about the index. So for now, got names, right? And we know that we also have math.random. We for sure will have to use math.random. If we use math.random, first of all, that will return a floating number between 0 and 1. That's not what we want, right? But if we do math.round and then we pass math.random, that will return either 0 or 1. But that's still not what we want, right? So, so the thing is, when we multiply it by 10, we got a number between 0 and 10. Remember? Now we want
But for it, multiply names dot names.
exactly. Now we want a number between 0 and 2, right? So, technically speaking, right, will this solve the problem? I'm going to hard code it for now. I'm going to hard code it for now. So if we do that, it will be between 0 and 1, right? And that means, what that means? That by doing that, the number will be, lowest number will be 0, the highest number will be 2. Let's try that at the console, at the bottom. 0, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 0. It's definitely working, right? So I think that algorithm is going to help a lot. In real life, unfortunately, this array may have 2 elements or 2 million, right? So we don't want to hardcode that. So how do we get the
Introduce an if statement.
an if statement? Can we do
Names
names of length, right?
That's even better.
And what happened now? What's the highest value possible? Exactly, exactly, because names.length could be 3, right?
Yeah.
-1, thank you, Albert.
Or we can use floor.
Or we can use floor. Can we use floor? If you use floor, it will work 99% of the time. But the problem of using floor is what happens if mat.random returns exactly 1. Will that ever happen? I don't know if mat.random can return 1.
I think it doesn't return one. It's between 0 and 1. So
Between 0, but does it include 1 as well? Exclusive, exactly, exactly. So then you are right. Then you see, we investigated it and you are right. So that means that we don't need to use mat.floor. We can use mat.round, names of length, and as Albert suggested, we can do -1.
Is that a little bit unfair though to 0? Because it's mapped out round.
Yep.
Any random number between 0 and 0.5 will be 0, but any number between 0.5 and 1.5 will be 1.
Between
So it
0.5 and 1.1
So
will
there's
be
more
1.
chance of you getting 1, 2, than 0. So it might be unfair.
He's now doing probability.
Yeah, no, but that's okay. Right. No, that's a good question. You see, that's a good point. Okay, then let's change that.
that was clear during the test as well, that you got 1 quite a lot.
Yeah. No, definitely. Will that happen if we use floor? Why not?
0 to 1 will return 0, 1 to 2 will return 1, and then 1 to 2.
Exactly. Justin is absolutely right. Even though technically speaking, we will solve the problem in both ways, either using mat.round and removing 1 or mat.floor, it's more sophisticated, it's more beautiful to do that because the chances to get 0, 1, or 2 are the same, right? Right. So then we know that line will return a number. It could be 0, 1, or 2. Or if we go to different array length, it will still work. So then, how do we return the value? Assign
Variable.
random index equals that. And then what? Like that? Yeah, it looks good to me. And let's see if it works. Kim, Boris, Kim, Boris, Kim. Where is Donald? Is there? Right. So yeah, I think this solution is correct. Why we get so few Donald? It doesn't like Donald. It's there. It's just maybe this is completely by luck. But I think it's the chances. The way to prove that this is equally valid, we'll have to run this 1,000,000 times, and then probably we'll see that they tend to be equally returning, right? Can we? You want to do that? Okay, let's do that. I like that. That's the attitude. So let's create let's create an algorithm that is going to run that function 1,000,000 times, and then it's going to tell us how many times each result is returned. Does it make any sense? You need a loop. That's true, right? So let's do something. First, how many times do we want to run that? Iterations. 1,000,000. Right? So then we are going to do the following. We're going to do function calculate probability, right? And then I'm going to use a classic for 0 as less than iterations, I++. So whatever I do, it will run 1,000,000 times, right? I may break the browser by doing that, but okay, let's try. Right. So the thing is, every time we do that, we want to call get random name, right? So we can do let random name equals get random name, right? I want to see every time what the random name is. And then I'm going to host an object called let results, which is going to be an object. So then at results, I'm going to do A. First of all, if results of random name didn't exist, then initialize it to what? I want to keep a counter. So what's the default counter of its name? Which one? Right, I'm going to do that. I'll show you. Because the most important thing when you resolve a JavaScript problem is think about the data structure. If you don't think the data structure correctly, it will be very complicated. But now, what I eventually want to do is that. You see the idea? I want to keep the counter of how many times its name is returned, right? So then what I'm doing is, please, first time, give me the name. Could be either Donald, Kim, or Boris, right? I got the name. But then results is just an empty object. So the very first time, results of Donald, for example, will be undefined. So if it's undefined, this will happen just once. What the value will be, the original one?
The result of random that's plus equal. No. The result equal result random name like plus 1.
Yeah, but that's not what I wanted to do. I want to say the very first time I want to initialize the object. If you find that confusing, it's 0, exactly. The thing is, hey, the first time.
No, it's first time 1 because.
Well, no, wait. The thing is, if it doesn't exist, initialize it, and then you can do A. That thingy is whatever it was plus 1, right? So this will run just once for each name. The first time it will set it to 0. Next time this will be already set, so it will skip the if sentence and it will just increase it by 1.
It also works like plus plus.
Plus plus. You want to do plus plus there
No, it's delete the.
and delete everything else. Okay.
I don't know. It's just
Plus equals. Plus equals 1. Yeah. So we could do plus equals 1. We could do plus plus. Yeah. Whatever. Right. So right. Then eventually we want to call that function calculate probability. Right. We are not done yet. So hopefully, after 1,000,000 of iterations, we got that. But in reality, I don't want the total figures. I want the percent. Is Donald called 33% of the time, 38, 91? I want to calculate, right, the percent. So how can we do that? How can we calculate the percents? Right.
iteration multiplied by name dot index.
No, you don't have the index. I want to do that outside of the loop. So the loop is there. The loop is gone. We already built that. That's there. But I want to transform that object into something different, right? So what we could do, and if you disagree, let me know. I want to create a similar object, actually. I want to do something, but I want just to change the values, right? I don't want that to be that. I want that to be 44.2. That will be you know what I'm doing, right? 25.5 is the percent, right? Because I want to see if the algorithm that you suggested is fair or not. Or, as we may have seen, Donald is just called 4% of the time, right? Right. So to do that, I got my results. So we can do something quite funny that Justin discovered yesterday. We can do object.keys. So when you do object.keys,
Just taking each of the
Only the keys from the
only the keys. Correct. So
in this case, the names, right?
is what?
So in this case, the names.
no,
The names. No, it's true. So Chris is correct. The name is the key. Exactly. So I'm going to use reduce because I want to iterate on that. So on reduce, the second value will be its name, its key. So then what I would like to do is, right, so I want to return a new object. So I'm going to return it here. Probably that should be split across a couple of functions to make it more readable. But for now, let's leave it like that. And then I want to say, I will return the accumulator. Chris will talk about how reduce works
Not to this extent.
on
Jesus,
Friday.
this is like a complicated one.
It is a complicated test, right? I never said that was easy. But it's a good example that then you can train by yourself. So right, so then what I want to say is, hey, I got results. So I want, I want the accumulator, which is an empty object, and right, and then I want to add a new property on it, which is the name. So essentially, I'm creating a new object, and the first property of the object will be Donald, and the value of the first property, this is the percent. So the percent will be what the value was. How can I get that value? You know? What? No, I want Donald. I got the results, a object, right? So I can do results of name. So this will return blah, 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 right?
Number of iterations.
Yeah, no, it's not, exactly, it's the number of iterations, thank you, right? And as I want the percent, right? You remember how to do that from school? So we can divide it by the number of iterations. Exactly, multiplied 100, right? This will potentially give us a very long string. So I want to fix it to 2 decimals. So how do we fix to 2 decimals? Math dot,
No, not math, just
yes, to fix it, two, and what will this return? A number or a string?
string.
A string. So what else is missing? Exactly. Right. That should make it. I mean, I would be very surprised if it works on the first attempt, but yeah. So let's review it, right? Let's think a bit.
So you have to wrap
Yeah,
everything in
not
the
working
number.
to fix.
You need to wrap everything.
The two fix have to be.
Yeah. So what is that closing? No, but that's okay, right? No, that's okay because look. So first of all, we divide it, we multiply it by 100, and then so number wraps everything, right?
No, but then we have to line to fix and it makes it string.
Yeah.
Ah, yes. You are right. Yes, you are right. You see, you are right. You're right. Exactly. Right. Thank you. That was a good hand. Okay, cool. So let's recap a bit. So we got calculate probability. We got an array of 3 elements, and then so we got here. This is an array of 3 strings. So we want to iterate for 1,000,000 times. We'll add a breakpoint. We're not going to stop probably 1,000,000 times, but we'll add the breakpoint. And actually, you know what? Yeah. So then we got random name. So random name based on our theory that will return either Donald, Kim, or Boris, right? So this will be a string. As this will be a string, I got my object that this will save all the results. So I say, hey, the first time does results of Donald exist? No, it's undefined. No problem. Initialize it. And then I know that I can do these kind of things because it will be either 0 if it's the first time, or if not, it will just increase the value, right? So it will keep doing that for 1,000,000 times, and then once we got that, then we say, hey, I'm going to return the person. So the person is, first of all, get the keys of results. So Donald, Kim, and Boris. It will run that 3 times. And every time I want to return a new object. And which properties that object has? The name. So the name will be Donald. And the value will be results of Donald, that number divided by 1,000,000. Right, and then we move. Right, let's pay attention to parentheses. So this will return a number between 0 and 1. We multiply it by 100 to get a proper percent, right? But then we want just to have 2 decimals. We call to fix, and then we want the number. We don't want the string, right? Should I run it?
Yep.
It works. You see? So that proves that the algorithm was correct, because look, they tend to be perfect, right? Probably,
Can
if
you change mod floor to mod round, please? Or,
we're here,
yeah, because there was another.
but we discussed that already.
Yeah, but I'm just out of curiosity to see if the theory was right about.
So if I type mat.round, yeah, that will not work, because eventually you may have a new element. So random index will be free. So random name will point to names of free, which doesn't exist.
Minus 1.
-1. Oh yeah, of course you can. Oh right, I see what you mean. All right, so you wanted to test the other approach, right? That's thank you. Yeah, sure. So that's what we discussed, right?
Yeah.
Right. So let's see if there is any difference. There is. There is a difference. Look at that. So Justin was completely right. So if we do mat.round and -1, the chances to get the first and the second and the last, sorry, are lower, right?
It's same as 1. Like,
It's,
2 of them.
yep.
Same.
Yeah, exactly. Oops, sorry, I clicked somewhere. Yeah. What I am. Yeah. So yeah. So let's put it back, because I think it was really good. So with mat.floor, you see, it's very, very close, right? Obviously, if we change from 1,000,000 to 10, what will happen? Well, I don't know. I disagree.
It's not going to be that balanced.
It's not going to be that balanced, because our audience, our data is not that powerful, right? So in that particular case, look, 40, 20, 40, right? So, but if we change it to 100, it will be slightly better. 35, 31, right? So the more iterations we run, the more precise our algorithm will be, right? Yeah, I mean, usually, it works at the first time pretty much, but usually that takes a while to this could be something.
I mean, you need to run
Yeah.
it at least 100 times, because it's
Yep.
percentage
Yep.
you want to find out.
Yep.
Can I just ask, you know the return object of keys, you know below that you've got a bracket name. What's that? That's just an empty object, isn't it?
What here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, would you need that if you've got results and then you put name here anyway? Would that? Because it's going into that.
Well, you could overwrite the results array. You could do that if you want. There will be no differences. I just wanted to keep the original array of results there. We can add a breakpoint, right? So if we run that, how many times this the JavaScript will stop at line number 14, where the breakpoint is? Once? I give you 3 options. Once, twice, or 1,000,000.
3.
I promise something. I'm going to click every single time on next. So if it's 1,000,000, I'll do it, right? So hopefully it's free, right? Right. Stop once. You see, the accumulator is an empty object because we've declared it here. The name is Kim because object.keys of results return all the keys. So next time, name should be whatever, either Donald or Boris. Exactly, Donald, right? You see that the accumulator already has Kim, right? So on the last iteration, the accumulator will have Donald as well. Exactly. And the last time, it will have Boris, right? So Boris is here, right? see, we can make it even more complex. I don't know how many iterations can we run. 100 millions. It's blowing up, right? And I didn't save it. That's interesting. Let's save. Yeah. So if I try to run it 100 million times, it doesn't work. Probably there is kind of limitation. Now it's stuck. But yeah, cool. So you got it. So is there any question? So I think this is a good exercise for you to start over and try to do it again.
What kind of level for coding?
That's
I
like-
think that's probably something between intermediate and senior.
Yeah.
Could be
that's
slightly
like-
more complicated than intermediate, but simpler than the advanced one.
And just one question.
Say
Like object dot
Right.
Sorry, I don't see anything.
given this object dot keys,
Yeah,
we can use like results dot keys.
this
Results.
results.keys.
Results.
Results.keys.
Instead of object name,
Results.keys, like that. Results.keys.
it's like the results here.
Yeah.
And we can
And sorry, Norbert. Just give me a second. Sorry, I'm going to stop the video and we can discuss it because I'm not following it. Just a second.
Oh,